Good evening. I hope you all are doing well and enjoying this cooler weather, if not the rain. I wanted to come on and talk to you a little bit about our current assignment and some of the things that I've noticed. I'm going to do a series of short videos because YouTube keeps cutting me off and losing my film, so we'll have a couple of 5-minute videos for you here. First off, I returned your ad evaluations late last night, got all those finished. Some of you did some very good work. Some of you do have some areas, well, everybody has areas to improve on. Some just have some more work to do than others. One thing I want to mention is it's really important that when I return these files, you open them and read your feedback. I spent a lot of time trying to give thorough feedback in English 111, and you need to use that to help you improve. So please be sure you open those files and look at the comments. From there, there are several things you can do with this feedback. Of course, you can look at it, figure it out, fix the problems. You can use your textbook. You can use the glossary index to help you find areas that you need to brush up on and work on. You can certainly use the resources that I've provided on our site. I have added today a resources content area, and it's full of links that you may find helpful. Some of them are through the school, some of them are outside the school. One of them is just kind of for fun, some irreverent grammar information, but very memorable, certainly not required. But you can certainly use those resources to help you. Another thing that I highly recommend, take your graded essays and go to the Writing Center. They can look at the feedback and help you with some one-on-one individualized help on your problem areas. I know some of you very much want some face-to-face assistance, and with me being off campus this summer and this being a distance course, the Writing Center can really help us bridge that gap. Of course, I'm always glad to answer questions if there's a comment that you don't understand. So on to our current project, this article evaluation that we're working on. I returned your summary and analysis today. Some of you did not work with a scholarly article. That said, if that is the case, you are going to need to work with a scholarly article when we get to the article comparison. So make sure that you do that. Some of you contacted me asking some questions about how to tell the difference between a scholarly and popular article. I talked about that a little bit in last week's video, and that was covered some in your reading for this week. Remember that scholarly articles are typically written for a well-educated, well-versed audience in the field. So you'll see more technical terminology, less explanation of those technical terms, typically more statistics, more citations, more charts and graphs, not so much pretty pictures. Our popular articles tend to have shorter paragraphs, are written with a more accessible vocabulary. So a lot of the differences you can see pretty quickly. Typically with scholarly articles, we have to dive into the library databases and look for scholarly peer-reviewed journals. Your popular audience articles are out there on the general internet in low-level publications and things that are very accessible to the general public. So a few things on the current essays. Make sure that your title is specific to your essay. Don't just use the article title as your title. That's not your title. You can certainly, make your title something like evaluation of, and then give the title in quotation marks. Article titles go in quotation marks. Pieces of works go in quotation marks. So the name of the newspaper, the name of the journal, the name of the book, all that is italicized. But the individual article from the newspaper, magazine, journal would be in quotation marks, not italics. So make sure that you fix that. A few issues that I'm seeing with wording. First of all, the audience is whatever group of people. Not the audience is to that group of people or the audience is for that group of people. Some of you are swapping article and audience in your writing, and you need to make sure not to do that. I've also seen some trouble with context. So when we think about context, maybe when you were in elementary school, your teacher was helping you figure out how to figure out the meaning of a word without running off to the dictionary, and you would look at the words around it to try to figure out what it means, and he or she would call that context clues. So when we think about context, we're talking about the surrounding, what's going on around it, what is X, Y, or Z in response to. So the context is what the article is responding to, what the situation is when that article is being written. When we talk about academic writing, we talk about the conversation. When we write academically, we are oftentimes responding to a text. So when you are considering the context, you need to think about what that article is responding to, what is surrounding it. So, you know, an article written a couple years ago about oil spills, you know, certainly the accidents we had had, Deepwater Horizon, etc., would be part of the context of that article. And you don't necessarily have to address context in your essay, but make sure if you do that you are using proper terminology and that you have a good understanding of it. I am going to halt this video right here and do a second one just so that we don't lose all this work. So look out for a second video this evening.